Well, I'm throwing in the towel on the purple car that I got. I got 3 Fox bodies right now, and I think I'm done. I think I'm done with the Fox bodies. I got pretty far on it. I ended up getting a cow hood for it. I picked up a 91 Fox body GT, and I cut that one up, and I used it for doing this one. But I think I'm done. I don't want to. Most of it is done. I had to do a couple changes to it. It's been sitting out here. I really didn't care about it anymore, so it's starting to rust. But the door lines up. It needs a little bit more work to it. It needs the body filler and to finish welding it, but right now it's up for sale as a parts car. I don't feel like dealing with it anymore. And I stole a lot of the parts off of it for the red car that I had in the first video of this car that I picked up as a project. So all the ground effects are gone. A lot of the interior, the dash, stuff like that I needed for that red car that was next to it. Now, I'll let someone else do what they want to do with it. But I started working on the red one, and apparently the passenger side quarter panel was smashed in. And instead of putting another quarter panel, they decided to just fill it full of Bondo. Got it grounded all the way. It has been sitting outside, but it was splitting along the wheel well, which got me into picking at it and trying to figure out why is there so much Bondo. This was almost a 1/4 inch of Bondo in this area, and then it goes over to about a 1/2 inch of Bondo all the way over to there. There's a big dent, and they just, did a good job. You can't really tell outside of it splitting the Bondo, but yeah, so I ended up cutting the quarter panel off of the 91 that I bought as a parts car, and we got the other red card is done. This is the other red car. It's got new paint on there. Quarter panels on there. I cut it around there. I can't even tell anymore. I did a pretty good job on the body filler and stuff, but I did it as a butt weld instead of the lap weld, whatever you want to call it, where you bend down the one piece of metal and then put the next piece on top and then weld that seam together. That's not my kind of thing. I would rather take the time and do the butt weld on there. Just makes it easier. I had to put some filler in there, obviously because of the welding and stuff, but you can't really tell looking at it. I don't even know where the weld is anymore. I have an idea where it was. But the next cut is below the ground effects. That way I didn't have to spend too much time trying to fix it. I could just weld it together. It was the butt weld there also, and body filler, and then plug welds on the wheel well. And the next cut is there along the ground effect. Same thing, butt weld and then a little bit of body filler. I didn't kill myself because you can't see it because of the ground effect. And their plug welds here. I did a L when I cut through the quarter panel and came down, and then it came over. I wanted to try to use as much of how the factory puts them on with the plug welds, so I could just kind of cut along, do the weld, and then plug welds through here at the windshield. There's a straight weld here because that's where I cut it, and then the plug welds for holding it back to the car. Well, it's kind of hard to tell because it's red, but I just did the plug welds on it, and it's somewhere around there. I don't know. I did a good job, so you can't tell where the new one is and the old one was. It had a the seat belts, because it's an 88, had a little push pin. When you close the door, that's supposed to lock the seat belt. I filled it in. I didn't like it. The stickers were already pretty much gone, so the stickers are off. Kind of just fixed a lot of the stuff on there. I believe there was supposed to be a grommet somewhere on there, and I filled in the grommet holes on there, try to make it for 89 to 93, how they don't have the holes in there. So I filled in the body ones. The interior is still all the same. Well, the dash is from the 90, because the dash that was in here was broken, and 88, well 87, 89 have a different steering wheel, and the gauge cluster, it didn't fit for the 90s, so I ended up having to switch over. It still has an 88 center console, but the console doesn't match the dash, so I had to trim the console some to get it to fit. But 87, 89 center consoles don't fit 90 to 93. I don't know why, whatever. But it's all in there. It's an 88 glove box. That worked fine with it. It's a 90 dash pad here, and then I switched out these because there was a 25th anniversary symbol on there, and this just got switched to just a plain horse. Yeah, not too bad. LX taillights, probably the ugliest taillights you could put on a Mustang, but whatever, that's what I had. And then these are all plug welds. I welded them in there and ground it down, but once it was welded, I didn't have the plug welds like you could see on the other side, so I ended up taking I had a big punch, and I took a big punch and hit the metal to give me an indentation of a plug weld, and then just kind of put some Bondo on top of it. It's kind of smooths it out. So someone comes and they look and they're like, oh yeah, alright, there's all the plug welds on that one, there's all the plug welds on that one. Spot welds, more of what the factory uses, spot welds. I did plug welds, so you can't tell. It's got my white ponies on there. I mean, the paint don't look too bad. And it's got quarter windows from the other car. I got the 5.0 emblems, and to let whoever buys it put those on. They can do however they want. 6-piece headlights, I got them for free. Fog lights from the purple car are in there. I use all the parts that I had on hand, so I wouldn't have to spend any money, and plus it gets it out of the garage. So, but the engine is the biggest difference. First video, you see everything was all covered in that rusty slime. It's a little bit cleaner now. Factory airbox, I just went stock because that's all I had. It's got BBK shorty headers on there, and BBK X-pipe and Flowmaster catback, which is all from the 91 parts car that I cut up. MSD cap, stock wires, stock plugs. It's got a new radiator. I didn't have a choice. I had to buy a radiator. I didn't have one. The one that was in it was all messed up. But that's where that one got to. My car, I got drag lights for it. I had them before and I didn't like them, so I put the white wheels on. I don't have any other wheels, so I had to put my white wheels on that one because the drag lights on that doesn't make any sense. I mean, that one was built to be stock. So I'm back to being stuck with the drag lights on my car. My car did a tubular front bumper support. I made it myself. It took it from 45 pounds for the front bumper support factory with the fog light bar and all that kind of stuff. My new one weighs 14.5 pounds. and it's just tubular. It's just a tubular square tubing, and I just kind of welded it together and I built it. I took the front bumper off and on and kind of went that route. I don't know if you can. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Yeah, I just painted it black. Yeah, it's got fog light brackets on there. And then it runs along there. Not hard to do, you just bend it to where it matches the front bumper, and then it's welded to the radiator support. So it looks same idea as the factory one, it just doesn't weigh anything. There are little skinny drag lights on there. Still has power steering. I had a manual rack in there, and with the new control arms ball joints, it makes it really hard to turn it. So if you got worn out ball joints, it's a lot easier to have a manual rack. It's not much different than power steering. If you have new ball joints, then yes, it's going to suck. But if you got old ball joints with a manual rack, it's real easy to turn. Maybe the UPR ball joints and their tubular caveman would make it easier, but this is probably going to get sold. I have another car, and I'll do another video for that. It's definitely not a Fox body. I think it's a little bit better. Probably on par with it. That's about it for my car. Finished polishing it up, and I'll see if somebody would want to buy it. If they don't give me what I want, then they can kind of sit here. We'll go from there. That's it.